What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our Wednesday afternoon team call called the 30-Minute Mentor Series. Today we have a special guest named Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald, and I'll give her a proper introduction in just 1 second. But the important news that we have coming up is Coach Summit, and Coach Summit is July 13th through the 15th. It's in New Orleans, so we hope that you're coming to Summit. If you're a part of this Team Dynasty, and you don't know anybody going to Summit, just know that I have a team page, like a group page for our team, so that you can make sure that you're connected with us. So when we sit down at night after all the meetings and workshops and workouts, we usually sit down in the hotel every single night in one of the lobbies and chat and get to know each other a little bit more. So I want you to know that you have that opportunity to be connected with us there at Summit. I'm super excited about that. Super excited. It is 10 o'clock here in Maui time, so it's still morning for me. And I know it's late over there in the UK, 9 o'clock p.m. We have a few of our UK challengers and future coaches on the call with us as well today. We're super excited to get to hear from Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald today. Her topic is Keto, Paleo, and Vegan. Oh my. So you may have been seeing a lot of people talking about the keto diet, some people talking about paleo diet, and even vegan. So she's here as a physician to help us understand a little bit more about this. She's a physician, a fitness instructor, a business owner, and an entrepreneur, a leader, motivational speaker, and more importantly, a best friend. In her Team Beachbody business, she is a 5-star diamond. She is a elite coach in 2016. And get this, guys, out of 400,000 coaches, her team was number 20 in 2016. So that's a pretty huge accomplishment for Lauren and her team. So a shout out to you, Lauren, for that. And you are officially unmuted, Lauren, and we're going to let you take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. So I actually have been a coach now for only 19, 20 months. And I actually left practicing anesthesiology. I left a high-paying job as an anesthesiologist because I realized that I'm passionate about helping people, and I can help way more people via coaching than putting people to sleep in the OR. And once I lived overseas for a brief moment in time for about 3 years, and I got back to the United States, and I realized that so many of the patients that I was putting to sleep, I had the feeling of, if I could have only gotten to them years ago, I would have helped prevent them from being in this current condition, needing this surgery, or having all of these complicated medical problems, right? So I will let you know that the average medical doctor, so I have my MD, so I like to call me a Western medicine doctor. So Western medicine doctors are typically MDs or DOs. And in medical school, we get next to zero nutrition. There are some medical schools I've heard of that give a little bit of nutrition, but for the most part, in medical school, we are taught how to treat disease with either medicine, procedures, or surgery. And I used to poo-poo the idea of the naturopathic doctors and the chiropractors and the acupressure and all of that kind of stuff. I used to think that it was a bunch of woo-woo nonsense. And I've changed. Obviously, I've become a lot more open-minded and realized that the body was made perfectly. And if we feed it properly, if we give it everything that it's meant to have, whether you believe in God or not, it's supposed to function properly. And when we do things that it's not naturally intended to do, like eat foods that are crap, then our bodies don't function the way they're supposed to. And so obviously I'm talking to a bunch of coaches right now. And so I want you to be able to take away something from this that helps you in your business. Now, I'm telling you the reason why I didn't get any nutrition, because everything that I've learned it after medical school. I've learned it after residency. Has nothing to do with the fact that I am a physician. I love learning, and I love the fact that everything that I learn, I can use to help empower the people that, whether they be clients, coaches, or both, right? And I challenge you, just like Scotty was saying, like he's working out and listening to personal development. Make part of your personal development learning about nutrition, guys, because that is out of the 3 elements, which I believe are pertinent to having a healthy lifestyle forever: exercise, good nutrition, and good supplementation, right? And out of those three, I believe nutrition is the most important. If you can get your nutrition dialed down, that's 80 to 90% of the battle. And yes, I've always been an exerciser. I've taught fitness in some form or fashion since I was 16, and I'm 37, right? But the fact is that I found myself 3 years ago teaching a really tough class 4 days a week. I have a pretty large YouTube channel, and I saw a video that I did. It went viral. It, like, in the first week, had like 1 million views. And I had that realization of, wait, I teach really hard classes and I work out, but yet I'm still struggling with my body. And that was when I was like, okay, there's got to be something else, because I was trying to out-exercise the bad diet. And what I realized was my diet compared to the average standard American diet, which I'll refer to as SAD, was actually good. But we've been told crap for years, and it has so much to do with politics and money and big food, big pharma, government. And I'm not going to get into that, because I want to give you nuggets that can help you in your coaching journey. But I will challenge you to start reading, start listening to audiobooks, start listening to podcasts about nutrition in general, because the more you know, the more potential power you have to empower yourself and empower your team and your clients, right? So, okay, so let's just start with, what is the perfect diet? Okay, now I will tell you that everything that I have is just an opinion, and it's based on, I've read so much in the last 3 years on my journey to learn about nutrition, right? And so as of right now, you'll understand what I think is best for most people, okay? What I want you all to realize is that we believed a myth that is not true. And it's not just as simple as eat less, exercise more, and the balance, the equation at the end of the week, if you burn more calories than you've eaten, then it's 3,500 kcals equals a pound. It's not that simple, guys. And if it were that simple, we wouldn't be facing an epidemic of obesity in the United States and Canada, right? And I don't know about Canada, but I know the United States, it's out of control. That would mean that everyone just doesn't listen to their doctor, and everyone's just a glutton and lazy. And that's not right. In fact, it's the opposite. The government, our doctors, including myself, I told so many patients, it still makes me cringe when I think about how many patients that I gave bad information, because that's what I was taught. A person comes in and they're like, doc, I can't lose this, whatever. Just eat lower fat, eat less, exercise more, and it just doesn't work, guys. And the fact is that the amount of money that would need to go into true medical research to look at what food is best for the body, it needs to be funded, right? And there's no big food companies and no big pharmaceutical companies that will benefit from a study like that. So most likely, probably never in our time will we ever be able to see a real good study that looks at the best nutrition, best diet for the human body, okay? A lot of the nutrition studies that we looked at are they're epidemiologic, which means, big word for, you take a set of population and they fill out surveys. And no matter how long that you followed them, they fill out surveys. So it's all based on their memory. I don't even remember what I ate last week, and I'm a smart cookie. So many of these studies are based on people evaluating what they ate throughout the year, and it's all based on such crap science. And so a lot of the outcomes are causation, but they're really correlation. Meaning, do you wake up every morning? Yes, right? I mean, you're here, you wake up every morning. The sun rises every morning, right? Well, you waking up doesn't cause the sunrise. But a lot of these nutrition studies say, well, yeah, this population like one of the things that I'll quote is vegans. And I'm not anti-vegan, just so you know, don't get upset if you're a vegan, like, oh, well, she's going to go there. A lot of the studies that these big vegan studies, documentaries and books focus on is the fact that, well, this set of population has lower heart disease, they live longer, blah, 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 but they don't look at all of the factors. They just assume that, well, this patient population doesn't eat meat, so it must be that. Well, no, there's other factors that go into it, because typically vegans, vegetarians exercise more. They usually don't smoke. They're usually more health conscious. So which one is it? Does that make sense? So you can't just say that, oh, it's this one factor. It's the meat. It's the lack of meat that causes them to live longer, to not have heart disease, to blah, 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 right? So the fact is, we will never in our lifetime probably have a good study that proves that, oh, veganism or vegetarianism is better than paleo, better than keto, whatever. So let me break down the nitty gritty, because the fact is that our job as coaches is to help the individual figure out what lifestyle is going to fit for them. Okay. Now let's just start off with, let's do the easy one. The person that's like, I'm a vegetarian or a vegan for whatever reason. Sometimes it's religious, sometimes it's moral, sometimes it's both. Right. And I'm not here to judge you, because I definitely believe that the way that animals are treated in conventionally raised farms is terrible. And I don't support any of those kind of products, because I've watched too many documentaries. That being said, you have a customer that comes to you and is like, okay, Coach Lauren, I'm a vegan, a vegetarian for whatever reason. But I've got these goals. I can't hit them by myself. I don't know why I can't lose weight. I need your help. What can you do for me? Okay. So our job is to take a person, know what their goals are, what they've done so far, what they've struggled with, and get them started. Right. And so if they're a vegetarian or vegan, more times than not, they already have an overall healthier lifestyle. Now that's not always the case, but obviously we're not going to talk about the exercise, because we're just talking about nutrition today. Obviously, your job, my job, our job as coaches is to figure out what program is best to start them on, right? But I always, and this is how I do it with my customers and my coaches, I always let them know, look, every single program comes with a nutrition plan. And all nutrition plans give you a vegan or a vegetarian and a non-vegetarian option, right? Those meal plans I've seen work for many people, but I also know that there is no one perfect meal plan and no one perfect diet for everyone. And so if something hasn't been working for a person for years, don't keep doing it. Try something different, right? So if you have a vegetarian or a vegan who comes to you and has struggled with their weight, the first thing that I would want to do is I would want to look at, what does their diet really look like? Because you have the vegan that you've got a couple, and I'm just going to say vegan, assuming that you know that vegan versus vegetarian. I know the difference, but it's just easier to say vegan because it's 2 syllables, right? So you've got the vegan that doesn't eat anything that's not raw, natural, but they eat a whole bunch of processed carbohydrates and sugar, and their diet looks like basically a white blend of nonsense, right? And they think that they're doing great because they've eaten, and that's more, you see that more times in vegetarians than vegans. But if their whole meal plan is full of foods that are the same color, that are all white color, right? That's different than the vegan vegetarian that eats a diet that's full of whole foods, that has unprocessed carbohydrates, that's low in sugar, that's high in fiber. So these two are different, right? Very different. So you want to go ahead and analyze, okay, what kind of changes can we make there? Because automatically, guys, the closer we can get to nature, the better. I always stress that you have to look at the ingredients. it kills me, because anytime I have a new client come to me or a new coach, they'll send me pictures like, hey, what do you approve of this brand? And I'm like, I don't care about the nutrition guide. Give me the ingredients. I mean, I do care about the nutrition guide, but people that have been with me a long time, they know, just take immediate picture of the ingredients. And it's safe to say that if you can't pronounce most of the ingredients, it shouldn't be going into your body. And I totally believe that food is either good or bad. There's no gray zone. So when you put that food in your mouth, it does something really good to your body or it harms it. And that is where we have to start, whether you're dealing with paleo, keto, veganism, or whatever, okay? So you look at their diet. Now, some of the changes that you make, because in the vegan, we know oftentimes has a lot of vitamin and mineral deficiencies. And one way, so just to be a little bit sciencey and geeky on you guys, a few of the things that they typically are low in are vitamin B12, omega-3s, the fat-soluble vitamins, so that's A, D, E, and K, and then zinc. And so those are really important, vital vitamins and minerals that our body needs and functions best on. And so that is why oftentimes you have someone that's a vegan and maybe they've lost weight because overall the amount of calories is less, but also the amount of carbohydrates and sugars are less too. So it's not that they're eating less calories that makes them lose weight initially, right? It's less of everything that is causing the obesity in America, okay? And that's another correlation versus causation, okay? So you have a person and now they've been a vegan for a long time, but oftentimes if they're not eating some of the right foods, they get these deficiencies. And that simple just trick that you can do, you can add some foods like nuts, seeds, avocado, coconut oil, despite what the American Heart Association said. If you guys don't, I have a podcast called the Fitz and Healthy Show. And I actually just did an emergency podcast about that article that the USA Today posted on the American Heart Association's stance on coconut oil and being bad. Just so you should listen to it. It was posted on Monday in the podcast app. So you can add nuts, seeds, avocado, coconut oil, some seaweed, let's see, I already said nuts. Some healthy fats is essentially going to help you out. And make sure that non-starchy vegetables, because you want to think about decreasing the amount of sugar. Even though sweet potato, it's still, your body sees sugar as sugar, right? So you want to decrease the amount of carbohydrates and sugar that your body is seeing. So those are some easy tricks that you can do to help the vegan, okay? Now let's talk about paleo. Paleo and keto, I think, well, all three of them have this in common. You can have a person that is going keto, going paleo, going vegan, and they do it wrong. And like any diet, if you choose the wrong foods, your body isn't gonna respond the way it should. So I've seen plenty of people that go paleo that completely overdo, and they'll eat a whole jar of almond butter. You guys, a whole jar of anything is not good for you, you know? And I mean, guilty. I don't buy almond butter because I love that stuff. So I just don't keep it in my house. But so paleo, the difference between a vegan and paleo, and the paleo comes from the Paleolithic times, the caveman time. And this is truly where I believe that we really started getting back to the way humans ate before we had grocery stores on every corner, before we had big food manufacturing, making all of this fake food, putting chemicals and artificial crap into our food, right? What did our ancestors that are 100 people down from our lineage, how did they feed themselves, right? And they were hunters and gatherers, right? And we were hunters and gatherers way longer than agricultural. Agriculture has been part of our human existence for the last about 12,000 years, but humans have been around for like 2.5 million. And so we were hunting and we were gathering, guys. And so this is this is more on the alignment that I like to practice eating. And I'm going to refer you to a few books. One of the books that I really love is a book that's written by a Western medicine physician, but he's Eastern minded, just like myself. His name is Dr. Mark Hyman. I'm sure that some of you have read his book. It's called Eat Fat, Get Thin. And he talks about, he compares both paleo and vegan. And he makes the point that there's never been a good study to look at people that practice paleo and vegan combined. So he calls them pegans, which I love. And that's essentially where I am, because I eat a lot of vegetables, and I don't eat a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of vegetables, just because fruit, even the low glycemic index ones, the ones I test my blood sugar and I know how my body reacts to it. And that's what I'm going to wrap up, is that all of these have everything to do with our hormones instead of physics. So it's more biology than physics, meaning it's not just calories in versus calories out. It's what is this information that is our food, whether you're a vegan, paleo, keto, whatever, this food that you're feeding your body is giving your body information and ultimately affecting your biology. So paleo typically don't eat grains. They don't eat sugar. They don't eat dairy. A lot of them don't eat legumes, which are beans. And you guys, peanuts, those are legumes. So that's why people that are in the paleo world, you won't see them eating peanut butter. They'll be eating almond butter, okay? Because peanuts are a legume, as well as chickpeas. And there's a few other categories that you don't realize. I know when I cut out legumes specifically, my GI tract did way better. And it has to do with the protein that's on the outside of the legumes and how our gut breaks it down and whatnot. And I'm not going to get that geeky on you. Just know that paleo, I think, is closer to the way humans were designed by God to eat. But thousands of years ago, we weren't eating meat that was from a cow that was in a slaughter yard that they were given multiple antibiotics because all of them were sick, and they were given hormones to fatten them up. And they were in terrible living conditions. They were fed soy and corn that's all pesticide laden and GMO. Like, these are things that you have to understand, because you are what your food ate. What? Yeah. So the fact is, yes, I realize that buying grass-fed, grass-finished beef is more expensive. But the fact is, when you buy conventionally raised beef, you are eating everything that they took into their body, and those cells created everything, all that meat that you're eating. And guess what? A lot of the bad stuff stays in their fat. And so when you eat a bite of conventionally raised beef, for example, you are giving your body signals of those same hormones that cow was given to get them to fatten up. That's why these farmers give animals hormones. They know it fattens them up. Hello? Ding, ding, ding. Does that sound familiar at all? Yeah, we're going to get back to the biology versus physics in a little bit. And I'm trying not to geek out on y'all so much, but this is something that I'm truly passionate about. And if anything, if you take away anything, start learning, okay? Just start learning and educating yourself. Got to start somewhere. So paleo is essentially eating the way our caveman ancestors ate, but you have to be smart about what you eat as well. Now, the difference between keto and paleo, a lot of people get confused when that whole topic comes up, because they know that, okay, paleo, pretty much the Paleolithic diet is lower in carbohydrates, right? But keto is really low in carbohydrates and higher in fat and moderate protein. Okay. Now, so let me just explain first things first. And I know that there are some questions. I will get to the questions in a little bit. But when a person says keto, there's two different words that sound very similar that I don't want you guys to confuse. So ketoacidosis is a life-threatening condition in which type 1 diabetics usually have when they're diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And if you don't get it treated, you die, right? It's totally different than ketosis. You are not going to die from ketosis. And ketosis is actually a natural state that I believe that we humans were meant to have for very good reasons. So let me explain what ketosis is. So our body needs fuel, right? And it gets it from either glycogen or ketones. Now, most of us get it from the glucose, the glycogen, right? The whole concept of ketosis is that you get to where your body is mainly burning these things called ketone bodies for energy. Now, this is where you guys need to pay attention, because apparently there are a few MLMs that are targeting our coaches because they want you to believe that, oh, all you need to do is take exogenous ketone and you'll stay in this fat burning state and you'll just lose all of this weight. And like anything, it's you take these concepts that I agree with, because I definitely agree that ketosis is a good thing. It's something that I practice cyclically. I don't stay in ketosis though, because to stay in ketosis 24/7, day after day, it's not easy. And at the end of the day, our job is to teach our clients and our coaches how to change their lifestyle for good, right? Give them the tools so that they can do this at 37, at 47, at 57, at 67, right? I'm not going to be testing my ketones in 30 years and seeing, I know myself, but can I do cyclic ketosis to have the benefits of it? Absolutely. Because there are a lot of benefits from ketosis. So first things first, you or maybe you have a client that wants to try ketosis. And Scotty, if I'm going far on time, because I'm known to be a talker. So
you're okay.
Okay. Just be like, okay, you got to wrap it up, because I can talk. So ketosis, you cannot tell if you are in ketosis unless you actually measure it. Okay. There's 3 ways to measure it. You can measure it in urine, blood, or breath. Now, the urine is the cheapest way to do it, and you can buy the little urine ketone strips. They're really cheap at Walmart or CVS or whatever, and it's a good way to see if you've gotten into ketosis. But if you are someone that wants to stay in ketosis, the only way that you can measure on a regular basis is blood or breath, all right? And that's expensive. Most people that I've talked to have said, well, I tried the ketogenic diet, but it just didn't work for me. More times than not, those people are eating too much protein, and that knocks them out of ketogenesis. So the whole idea of keto is you are eating a diet that is mostly fat with very minimal carbs and moderate protein. And the fact is that we believe that we need way more protein than we actually do, okay? Protein will cause a spike in insulin, not as bad as carbohydrates, but that's the whole concept of keto, is that the spike in insulin, which is the hormone that we're going to talk about that is just the most important one that I think all of us overestimate, is the key player in so many people's weight loss, okay? And so we know that carbohydrates spike insulin the most. And this is where I always talk about bro science. Like, don't listen to the bro science from the 21-year-old personal trainer that's gotten his little certificate to personal train, and he's just passing on information that he's learned in health food magazines and whatnot, right? Telling you to eat every 5 meals, 6 meals every 2 or 3 hours. Guys, that's not natural. The human beings have not had food access so that we can eat every 2 or 3 hours and constantly have our pancreas spitting out insulin so that we get what's called insulin resistance. And so ketosis helps bring that insulin back in and regulate it, because fat basically doesn't spike insulin. Carbohydrates spike it the most. Protein spikes it less than carbohydrates, but fat spikes it the least, okay? And so that's why ketosis is so beneficial. And not just ketosis, but higher fat, lower carbohydrate lifestyles are so beneficial because it looks at the root cause of most people's weight gain. And most people's weight gain has to do with hormones and not imbalance of energy. And if you can start to see your clients as, okay, like if they have truncal obesity, meaning their waist is large, like I guarantee they have insulin resistance. And that needs to be the first place that you start. And so eating foods that don't spike your insulin is going to be a great place to start helping them so that they can start gaining control of that hormone of insulin. Okay. Now, people that want to stay in ketosis and try the ketogenic lifestyle and try Shakeology, I've tested on myself. When I use an exogenous ketone, and I don't use any of the MLM products because you don't have to. You can just get a good MCT oil. Like I use brain octane from Bulletproof. It's called caprylic acid. It's a C8. It's basically an MCT oil. It's an exogenous ketone. And when I combine that with Shakeology, I actually stay in ketosis. And I measure my blood ketones and I can stay in ketosis. So that is going to be a question that you potentially will have in someone that's like, well, I'm keto, can I still be keto when, in drinking Shakeology? Yes, you can. But the only way that they can tell is if they test it themselves. Okay. I'm all over the place. Do we have questions that we want to address before? Because I know that this thing is supposed to be 30 minutes and we're approaching 30 minutes.
Yes. Let's see if anybody asks a question. This has all been so awesome, Lauren. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll see if does anybody have a question? You can either unmute yourself, which would probably be the easiest, or you could type one in. We'll see if anybody has a question.
Yeah.
This is so awesome, by the way.
Well, good.
I have a question.
Hi. What's up, Alyssa?
Hi. Yeah, my name is Elisa. So
Elisa.
I love everything you said here. This is great. I had a couple questions for you. So do you run challenge groups? And if you do you like form your own meal plans for your challengers, or do you follow like the 21-day fix or any of the portion fixes, or what do you do there?
I give them options. And so anytime that because I run challenge groups every month. So I always give them options. I always let them know, look, you can, like right now, we're doing the 21-day fix extreme between now and shift shop. And I let them know, we start on Monday. I let them know, look, the meal plan with that is awesome. I've seen it change a lot of people's lives, but here are some other options. So I will always give them a high fat, low carb meal plan. I give them a keto meal plan, and I give them a few other options if that's a little bit too extreme, they're not quite ready for that. So just because the fact is, not everyone is ready to go as extreme as other people. And so I want to have them have options and know. And I've had some people that are like, no, I'm just going to start with the 21-day fix. And as month go by, they're like, okay, I think I'm going to try something. And that's my job as coach, is to recognize, okay, you're in a plateau. What can we do? And sometimes like just adding some intermittent fasting can help boost their, and get them past a plateau. But yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
One other question, and then we'll let you go. One of our coaches said, would you be willing to share a keto meal plan by chance? Do you have that on a website or anything?
I don't have it on a website, but I mean, I can share it in your team page or just send it to you.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll link it in this video.
Okay.
I'll put it in a Google Drive or something.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Well, we need to get going. I am going to give you another plug. What was the name of your podcast again?
So since my last name is Fitzgerald, F-I-T-Z, so it's called Fitz and Healthy. We just launched on May 1st, and I do it with another Beachbody coach. Her name's Symphony, and we hit 50,000 downloads this week. It's kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats on that, Lauren.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Healthy podcast. We're going to all check that out because I know after listening to this, I need to be more educated as well. So
most definitely. We all do. Never stop learning.
Yes, always learning. So thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you for being willing to adjust today on this call and share some incredible value with us. Guys, we'll see you guys next week at 2:00 p.m. Eastern on the 30-Minute Mentor Show. This call will be uploaded and onto my YouTube channel within 30 minutes. So if you have anybody that needs to see it, make sure that you share that link with them, and we'll see you guys next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Scotty.
Bye.